God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
So I am great.
God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
So I am.
God is great. So great. And I am great. God is love.
God is love.
So I am love.
So I am love.
God is love.
God is love.
So I am love.
So I am.
God is love. Love. And I am love. Put your hands together. God is great, and I am great. God is great, and I am great. God is peace.
God is peace.
So I have peace. God is peace.
God is peace.
So I have peace. God is peace. Peace. Oh, I have peace. Oh, God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
I am great.
God is great.
God is great.
So I am great. God is great. And I know that I am great. I am great. Yeah, yeah. Put your hands together. Yeah. God is great. And I know that I am great.
God is great.
God is great, and I know that I am great, and I am great. You are great, and we are great. Oh, God is love. Oh, la la God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
So I am great.
God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
So I am.
God is great. So great. And I am great. God is love.
God is love.
So I am love.
So I am love.
God is love.
God is love.
So I am love.
So I am.
God is love. Love. And I am love. Put your hands together. God is great, and I am great. God is great, and I am great. God is peace.
God is peace.
So I have peace. God is peace.
God is peace.
So I have peace. God is peace. Peace. Oh, I have peace. Oh, God is great.
God is great.
So I am great.
I am great.
God is great.
Is great.
So I am great. God is great. And I know that I am great. I am great. Yeah, yeah. Put your hands together. Hello, good morning, happy Sunday. It is so very good to be here with each and every one of you on this Sunday morning as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and significance of the power and presence of God flowing in, through, and as us right here and right now. That is good news, and we are happy to celebrate that truth as one family. Let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. This morning, our prayer champion, Reverend Shauna, will open us with prayer.
Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Let's close our eyes and relax. Let's be here now. Be here now. Be here now, tapping into the wellspring of well-being that never runs out. Because right here is where God is. God the infinite, God the all-knowing, God the all-wise, God the creator of all things, including us. God infuses us with its power and its wisdom and its strength and its courage and abilities and transcendence. Everything God is in the large, we are in the small. We are made in the image of God. Each and every one of us is God-filled and contains the joy we were born with. How do we know this? Because every thought, every desire, every ability we have comes from the vast mind of God through us and into reality. We are co-creators with God. God creates the seeds, we plant them and raise beautiful flowers and trees and nourishing food. We get ideas from God about creating art, building things, teaching children, excelling in sports. God places the ideas and we bring it to fruition with joy and thanksgiving. I am so grateful and thankful that we come together as a community to celebrate our oneness with God and all creation. We know in faith that this gathering is blessed. We know this gathering is health and healing. We know we are enlightened. We know we are successful and abundant and prosperous in all areas of our lives. From this awareness, we encourage and inspire and support each other. We celebrate today in this corporate worship. We are centered through this prayer and Pastor Yolanda's meditation experience. We are uplifted through Soul 21's joyful music. We are empowered through Pastor Greg's message and teachings. We grow and change so that we firmly accept our greatness, our worthiness, our brilliance, and we know we are loved beyond measure. When we leave here, we carry joy deep in our souls throughout the week in every encounter. We take these beliefs and these feelings out into the world. We know we are the God experience. As Rumi said, listen, stop being sad. Hear the blessings like blossoms falling all around you. I am so grateful and thankful that you and I are coming into a greater awareness and greater acceptance of who and whose we are, of what powerful beings we are. And from this awareness, it is with great joy and thanksgiving that I release this prayer to God, who already knows what to do and how to do it. From my profoundest gratitude, I thank the God in, through, and as us, and say amen, ashe, and so it is.
Yes, yes, yes. Amen. Ashe. And so it is. We are grounded in the word of prayer. We are grounded in the knowingness of prayer. We are grounded in that definite movement of mind in a definite direction to accomplish a definite end. That we know who and whose we are, and we are choosing to lean into that even more today. We are choosing to expand our awareness of that. We are choosing to relish in our awareness of that today. Thank you, Reverend Shauna, for opening us in prayer. Hello again, and welcome to everyone to the weekend service, to this beautiful gathering that we are co-creating together. And of course, as we are all welcome, we of course want to welcome our first-time guests. If you are joining us for the very first time, hello. Great to see you. Feel free to shout yourself out in the comments. Let us know where you're connecting in from. I know Brooklyn is in the house. I see that Memphis is in the house, and so many other folks are in the house. Probably some of our West Coast folks are in the house. I'm always amazed that you all are connecting so early. We're starting to replay the stream in your time zone to make it a little more accessible to you. But we're happy that each and every one of you are here. And as our first-time guests, we welcome you, we see you, we love you. We know that something will be said, something will be done that will support you in living an empowered life, that will support you in thriving this week. Now, we would love to stay in touch with you, and so the information you see on your screen is how you access your digital connection card. Just text the word welcome to 347-472-1078. Just the word welcome, no additional messages are needed. That will create an automated reply with a link. That link takes you to the digital connection card, and that's where you'll submit your information, your name, your number, and your email. We need your email because that's the only way we can get you on the mailing list, right? So make sure you populate that information, and then at that point, you'll receive a follow-up text that says you're all set. And indeed you are. You'll be on our mailing list. We have a weekly email that goes out on Fridays, and any other communications that are necessary. Every now and then we send out other messages, and you will receive that as a member of the mailing list. But more importantly, we're happy that you're here, and we are confident that you will receive something that will leave you better than when you walked into this or connected into this stream. So let's get into our announcements, because as you'll see, there are some things in the announcements that will also be in your inbox, and you may want to have those for more convenient access. Well, the first thing we want to note and acknowledge is that it is celebration time. I'm going to just put us back on the screen real quick. It's celebration time. We are in our anniversary week. 10 years ago, on the last Sunday of March, it was March 31st, 2013. We opened the doors of Celebration Spiritual Center on Easter Sunday. And so it is celebration time. We are grateful to have reached this milestone. There's a flood of memories that have been coming to me over the past week. Although we are virtual, we look forward to celebrating and honoring this milestone in many different ways as we celebrate throughout the year, right? So it's for us, it's not just a one-time thing, and there's, I think, some beautiful things that we'll be able to do throughout the year. But again, we are grateful and thankful, grateful to recognize that CSC is a real experience, right? It's a God experience, and that God experience, which started as just an idea between the two of us, that has blossomed out of a vision into something that's magnificent, something that has impacted the lives of thousands. We cannot tell it all, but of course, many of you know that what has transpired as your result, the results of you coming in contact with CSC. It's an amazing, amazing thing to really think about. And then, of course, we are well connected within the New Thought community. CSC is an award-winning ministry. We have made wonderful strides in that way, and we're happy to call so many people within the New Thought community our friends, and it's wonderful again to sit with, from our perspective, to sit with this idea that came to us, and we felt so strongly about it, that pulled us into where we are today. It's just absolutely, absolutely amazing. And so as we celebrate the 10th anniversary of CSC, we're also celebrating our 10th anniversary as the pastors of CSC, our 10th anniversary of serving and loving and giving in the ways that we have. And we look forward to continuing to do that. And again, we look forward to, there are many things that we'll be doing throughout the year to really honor and commemorate these 10 years, because we don't take it lightly, and I don't think it's something that we can just on one day just say, hey, yay, happy birthday. But of course, CSC's official birthday is coming up later this week on the 31st. So as we celebrate this community, as we celebrate this ministry and what it is, we celebrate each of you, we celebrate each other, and what it is that we've co-created, and know that not only is Brooklyn better as a result of CSC, which was the focus of our attention, right? That was the focus of our attention. Something was needed in Brooklyn. But the country is better because of CSC. The world has been made better because of CSC. And that's the beauty of the power of a seed, an idea, right? It gives so much more than what that singular idea appeared to be giving. And so we continue to celebrate. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. I also want to say happy spring. I didn't say happy spring. It's a beautiful time to be alive. We are a church that believes in prayer, that's founded in prayer. As we talk about our 10th anniversary, 10 years ago, before we opened our doors, we established this prayer line. We established this phone number, which was, we held the vibration of prayer with our launch team daily as we prepared to open the doors. And so it's one of the reasons that we haven't changed this number and moved to other platforms, because I believe it's, I don't know, it's like having a good, well-worn, I don't know, maybe a pair of shoes that doesn't have holes in it, but they're just comfortable.
I was going to say sweater.
Right, a sweater, something that you love, that it just feels good when you put it on. So we gather together every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. for the Momentum Prayer Call. The Momentum Prayer Call, it builds on the momentum of Sunday. It supports you in jump-starting momentum on Wednesday morning if you need it. And of course, it supports you in keeping that momentum to carry you through the week. We encourage you to join us live. It's a quick call. We don't take a lot of time. We share a reading, and then we pray. That prayer is always recorded, and so as you see the playback number, you can access the most recent prayer at any time, 24/7. It's always available to you, and that is a good thing. That is a powerful thing. But of course, we encourage you to be intentional and set that time in your day to join us and begin your day with the Momentum Prayer Call each and every Wednesday morning. Now, if you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. Our prayer champions are our trained prayer practitioners of CSC. This an email or a prayer request that you send will be received by them. It will also be received by Pastor Yolanda and myself. And we will know the truth with you, or with you and your loved ones, whatever it is you may be sending the request around. We know that prayer works. We know the truth of prayer. And of course, we teach and practice affirmative prayer here at CSC. So we're not begging God. We're not beseeching God. We're not bargaining with God. Or, oh, we'll be better if you heal my child, right? We're not doing those kinds of things. But we recognize that prayer is simply an opportunity for us to remember what was always true and come back into alignment with that, and then allow that focus of attention to express, demonstrate, and manifest in, through, and as our lives. Now, as your prayer is answered, please send us an email to the very same email, prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org, and let us know how prayer is working in, through, and as your lives. We encourage you to continue to invite folks to the live stream. We are looking for those that are looking for us, and the best way that can happen is, as you know, folks that you think may be in alignment with what CSC is all about, let them know about it. Send them to the YouTube channel, send them a link to a sermon that impacted you or that reflects a conversation you all were having. Send them a song, send them a meditation, and let them know that this good thing exists, and there's more than enough room for them to join this holy party.
That was real churchy.
I know, it's beautiful, right? But again, we know that there are many still who have not heard that they're worthy, who have not heard that they're loved unconditionally. We know this truth, and so we are always arms wide open, ready to receive and accept and unconditionally love those that would like to hear this message. This is, of course, the final Sunday of the month, and we have debuted this month with our anniversary month, a series of the month. Because it has been 10 years and we have so many different sermon series, we're going to resurface series each month. And so as this is Women's History Month, it made sense to highlight our Speak the Truth, Honoring Women of New Thought series. You can go to our YouTube channel and you'll see that there on the front page of the channel. We'll highlight a new series next month, and we'll continue to do that because there's so much rich content. There's so much wonderful teaching that continues to uplift and inspire. And that concludes the news and updates for today. And that means we have the awesome privilege of being led to go within through the meditation experience, being led lovingly by Pastor Yolanda.
Ah, yes. It is time for the meditation experience. 10 years of bringing you back to yourself, reminding you of your connection to God, reminding you that this loving presence is within you, allowing these words to be more than words, to be an experience of God, individualized within you. An experience that no one can take away from you, that nothing external to you can eliminate, eradicate. It is always available. And this month we have been focusing in on the truth that I and that you are one with all that is. Many times things take us away from our center, for we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But when we can come back to ourselves, we get to feel and know and trust that we are one with answers, that we are one with unconditional love, that we are one with God. We may have grown up to believe that there are things we must do to come into alignment with God, ways in which we have to serve or praise. But the truth is that God has never left us. The truth is that we are always one with the mind that is the mind in back of and behind all things. The truth is that this unconditionally loving presence is here now. And we can allow it, we can experience it, we can be held by it, we can be encouraged by it, we can just be loved by it. All month long, we've been remembering we are not separate. We are one with the all. God and I are one. God and you are one. Nothing can separate us from that love. No mistake, no fear, no doubt, no worry. We remember these words, but we experience this truth. We let it wash over us. We let it comfort us. We let it heal us. All that we are, all that we do, all that we are comes from this divine presence. So let's feel that presence now. Go ahead, look around the room, notice where you are. This is an important step to bring yourself present. Notice that you are in a safe space, your space. Allow your ears to align over your shoulders, shoulders over hips, and get comfortable. Allow the palms to relax on the tops of the thighs. And now from this place of presence, this place of safety, this place of connection, allow the eyes to gently close. Letting go of our external focus and becoming so aware of our internal experience. As we settle into the comfort, seated upright in our chair, on our bed, on our sofa, notice the breath. We make no judgment of the breath. We just allow the breath to be. Not forcing the breath, not wishing that it were deeper, not judging it if it appears to be shallow. Just honoring that we are connected to all that is, and that that energy is flowing on our breath. We are in no rush to move forward. We just stay present with where we are, remembering that we are one with all that is. The all is here now. And let's use our conscious control of the breath now, not forcing it, but allowing it to drop deep into the low belly. And together, we're going to inhale on a count of 4. And as we do, we'll expand the low belly. Let's inhale for a count of 4 now. Hold it there. Count of 4. And now open the mouth and nice and easy, release the breath for a count of 4. Sigh it out. Again, practicing that low breath into the low belly, expanding the breath, expanding the belly. Hold it there. And whatever has been keeping you from the breath, sigh it out and reconnect. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding the sides and the back and the front of the body, sending breath into those places that feel stuck, that feel disconnected. Hold it there. And sigh it out. In through the low belly and up again through the rib cage. It's a new moment. Find a new place for the breath. Hold it there. Sigh it out. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now up through and to the heart. Hold it there. And without collapsing, open, relax the jaw, and sigh it out. Again, in and all the way up, connecting each part of the breath, rising to the altar, that heart chakra, center of the chest. Hold it there. And when you're ready, sigh it out. Sighing it out, releasing, hearing the breath, being present, knowing that this breath connects us to each other and to the all. Let's take that breath a little deeper, connecting all three parts of the breath. And as you inhale, bringing it all the way up to the altar, to the heart. But this time, close the lips. And when you're ready, exhale through the nose. Slowing it down. Count of 6. Our body is getting the signal now that it can relax. Our body is allowing itself to receive more of the divine. Our breath is flowing into places that may have been blocked this week, and the energy and the light of love is filling what needs to be filled, reminding us of the truth with each breath. Let's practice for a few rounds on our own, in and out through the nose, for this is how we will breathe for the remainder of our meditation. Nice and easy. In and out through the nose, relaxing the body, letting the breath go where it is needed, and we receive the all. Beautiful, everyone. Now, let's enjoy the breath and send it into the feet. We've been moving about, either physically or in our minds. Maybe we've been carrying a burden. Let's release it all now as we relax the feet. Releasing the toes and the heels and the arches relax. Making contact with the earth beneath us, sending that energy up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. I am one with all that is. You are one with all that is. Let this isness flow across the shins and the calves. Relax the shins and the calves. Energy cannot be stopped. It flows across the knees. We bend, we allow, we forgive, we release. Relax the knees. We are ready to surrender the thighs as the energy flows across the thighs and glutes and the hamstrings. Nothing to carry, only love to be experienced. Relax the thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes. Letting go of the lower half of the body, feeling the energy gathered at the base of the spine. Maybe it moves into the hip sockets. Relax the hip sockets. Unobstructed, the energy flows. Kundalini rises. We remain open as the energy flows in and up. Exhale, allow. Energy flows up. Exhale, allow. And up. Exhale, allow. And up. Exhale, allow. And up. And up. And out the crown of our head. As that energy gathers above us, connecting us one to the other, sending that love out to those that are in need. It gathers momentum as it comes back down through the crown, across the third eye, down the throat, across the shoulders, down the arms, out the fingertips. Notice in your body, if you need to receive more, turn the palms up or to ground. Turn the palms down. As we prepare for our silent time, the mind might wander. It's okay. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. We lovingly, gently, tenderly, compassionately bring it back to the thought, I am one with all that is. We allow that thought to be experienced in our body right here and now. Don't try to hold on to anything. We just experience God for ourselves. For we are all connected to the all, and we can never be separate. Allow that connection, and now allow that love, allow this truth to be your experience now. With our eyes still closed, we rest in complete confidence, in the presence, in the awe, in the knowing that we are loved beyond measure. With our eyes closed, we rest in the complete knowing of our oneness, of our wholeness. With our eyes still closed, we bring back with us this experience and this rest. And we remember that when life appears to be challenging, we simply close our eyes, take the breath, and come right back here. Right back to the knowing. Right back to the connection. And right back to the presence. Let us bring this love, this energy, this life force, this comfort with us. Slowly start to wake the body now. No rush. Maybe you wiggle the fingers or the toes. If the palms are turned up, you can turn them back down. And let's take a moment to just notice the body and be in gratitude for it. Maybe we elongate the breath more. Inhale, drawing the shoulders up by the ears. Exhaling, releasing the shoulders back and down. Again, nice long breath, inhaling. Shoulders up, elongated spine, releasing the shoulders back and down. Last time, inhale up. Exhale, noticing the opening of the heart, the chest, releasing the burdens, feeling the love, bringing the palms together at heart center, bowing the chin towards the fingertips, allowing that energy to flow across the spine. I am one with all that is. That presence is my presence now. You are one with all that is. Allow it to be your guide now. Allow it to be your encouragement now. Allow it to be your healing now. Slowly open the eyes, nice and easy. Without strain, find a focal point. Nice soft gaze. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Exhale, releasing the breath, shoulders relax, soft focus, staying connected. Namaste.
Yes, yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
We are one. We are one with all that is. Well, as we are in the last Sunday of the month, we, of course, have come to the conclusion of our sermon series for this month, Embracing Wholeness. And I will be speaking to you today from the topic, See the Whole Picture. But before we get into the message, we're going to hear from Soul 21. And this song really echoes musically what we have already tapped into via the meditation. So I'll see you on the other side.
So we're going to just move on up a little higher today. Y'all ready to move on up higher? Yes. And so the beautiful thing about this song is it's call and response. So when I sing, just sing it back. We take a little journey, knowing the truth together, celebrating the truth together. All right? You can put your hands together if you want to. It's all good. All right, here we go.
Yes, yes, yes. We go higher. We go higher. We go higher. So grateful and thankful for that song. Shout out to my dear sister Shanda Rule, who wrote that song. And it is always a party when we get to sing that song at CSC. Well, hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's so good to be with you here as we officially begin the 10th year celebration, the 10th anniversary celebration of CSC, this celebration of the God experience, this celebration of awakening the world to the presence of God within and all around us, celebrating this truth as one family, embodying unconditional love, equipping humanity to live their greatest lives and serving all creation. Well, I want to get into the message because I have some things that I want to share, and I think this will be beautiful as we wrap this up. And I pray that this is really giving you some new insight, but also a reminder about what wholeness is. And of course, we started in week 1 with the message, wholeness over wellness. And this was really about what inspired this sermon series as I read an article from Oprah Daily with the title is Wholeness, the New Wellness. And I laughed when I read that because I'm like, well, wholeness ain't new. Right? And so I think it's important for us to understand that actually we want to put the focus of our attention on wholeness versus wellness because, of course, wellness has been co-opted by the marketing machine. It's been co-opted by capitalism, and it's become something that I don't think it was ever really intended to become. And while many people have become very wealthy as a result of this wellness industry, it is created this thing of us thinking there's something wrong with us, we're broken, and then there's some people or some things that I can do to fix what's wrong with me, right? Some things I can buy to fix what's wrong with me. But what if the truth is that you're not broken, right? What if the truth is that you're actually perfect, whole, and complete? And this is something that is foundational to New Thought. And so as metaphysicians, as those of us who embrace this New Thought philosophy, we understand that this goes back to the earliest writings. This goes back to Dr. H. Emily Cady. This goes back to Emma Curtis Hopkins. This goes back to Ernest Holmes. This is all throughout A Course in Miracles and so many other texts. Now, in week 2, I went specifically to Dr. H. Emily Cady and Lessons in Truth, the first lesson, Bondage or Freedom. And we looked at this idea of understanding that there is a divine self, which is wholeness, the universal wholeness within, through, and around us, that we must surrender to. We must bow to that and let that become the thing that informs us. Let that become the thing that informs our choices and our decisions, and we begin to live from that place. And it is inevitable. Now, many people may not experience that until they transition out of this time-space reality, but it is possible to come into that awareness, come into that knowingness, and bow to your divine self now and live and thrive from that reality. And then last week, holiness is still right. Holy, WHOLLY. Ness is still right. A play on this idea that I heard so often as a child growing up in the Pentecostal holiness church, that holiness is still right. But what I shared last week is that wholeness is right about you. It's still right. Regardless of what you think, regardless of what you may be doing, regardless of your mistakes, regardless of what may have happened, wholeness is still right and right about you. And we tapped into the wisdom of Emma Curtis Hopkins, where she reminds us that the Holy Spirit is the breath of wholeness, right? And so when we understand that there's something within us that is supporting us in living a certain way, that is supporting us in remembering who and what we are, that is supporting us in remembering to love ourselves so that we can love others, that is the spirit of wholeness within us. And we bring the focus of our attention to it because by learning of wholeness and allowing the Holy Spirit within us to lead and guide us and teach us, we are remembering God, as A Course in Miracles reminds us. And so as I close this series this month, I want to take us back to where I began in week 1. Because one of the things I talked about, I said the reason why I laughed at this idea of wholeness being the new wellness has to do with my experience at Sacred Center, New York. That Sacred Center, New York was anchored by some founding principles. And one of those founding principles is all of life is a movement toward our wholeness, which was directly inspired by a translation of the Tao Te Ching, verse 29. This is the Jonathan Starr translation. And I want to take us back to this text. I'm going to read through all of verse 29. And I'm going to replace where the word perfection is written in the translation. I'm going to replace it with wholeness, because as Jonathan Starr shares in his text that shows how he got to the translations, he says very clearly that the root of the word perfection is wholeness. And I think that's better for our ears, because oftentimes when we hear perfect or perfection, be ye perfect as God is perfect, we're starting to think about this unattainable idea that we have in our minds as humans, right, around perfection. And so then we get lost, we get caught up, because we can never be quote unquote perfect. So wholeness is a good word to use. So I invite you to hear this, and then we're going to kind of just do some old school breakdown of the text and exegesis, and talk a little bit about what Lao Tzu is writing about and how that supports us in embracing wholeness. Those who look down upon this world will surely take hold and try to change things. But this is a plan I've always seen fail. The world is Tao's own vessel. It is wholeness manifest. It cannot be changed. It cannot be improved. For those who go on tampering, it's ruined. For those who try to grasp, it's gone. Allow your life to unfold naturally. Know that it too is a vessel of wholeness. Just as you breathe in and breathe out. Sometimes you're ahead and other times behind. Sometimes you're strong and other times weak. Sometimes you're with people and other times alone. To the sage, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. So what need has she for the excessive, the extravagant, or the extreme? Spring is here, y'all. Monday was the first day of spring, and I've been excited about it. PY and I, we tease each other often. She's a winter baby. I'm a summer baby. And so now that spring is here, we're getting closer to the summertime. And of course, spring is here. That ends the winter time. And of course, we're already starting to see the signs of spring. Many of my friends in the DC area, I've seen them posting pictures. They've already gone down to the tidal basin, and the cherry blossoms are out. They're there. It's a beautiful thing. I checked, according to the Cherry Watch on the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens website, we don't quite have our cherry blossoms yet. There are 4 trees that are in pre-bloom or peak bloom, but we know that soon, and very soon, here in Brooklyn, we will be able to enjoy the cherry blossoms. I'm not sure about in Newark, New Jersey, which is another space here in the tri-state area where you can see the cherry blossoms. I don't think they have peaked yet or bloomed. So soon, we will all see and experience the visible signs of spring everywhere. And yet, the visible signs of spring, and yet without the visible signs of spring, we all know it is spring. Yes, yes? Why don't you take that in for a second? You can hear the spiritual truth in it right now, right? Soon we will all see and experience the visible signs of spring everywhere. And yet, without the visible signs of spring, we all know it is spring. The Hermetic principle of correspondence teaches us simply, as above, so below. As below, so above. And so as we can look at nature and have an understanding that even though we may not see all the visible signs of spring, we know it is spring. And we know that the visible signs of spring inevitably will show up, will demonstrate, will be made manifest, just as we know it. Just as we know it is spring without the visible, physical, tangible experience of it, we can know we are whole without the visible, physical, tangible experience of it. Why? Because just as we know the demonstrations of spring will be made manifest, we can know that the demonstration of our wholeness will be made manifest. In fact, it's inevitable. And this is the wisdom that Lao Tzu is sharing with us in this verse. So we're going to look at some aspects of this verse and kind of talk about it and break it down a little bit. And so in this first section of this verse, Tao Te Ching, verse 29, again, the Jonathan Starr translation. Those who look down upon this world will surely take hold and try to change things. But this is a plan I've always seen fail. The world is Tao's own vessel. Its wholeness manifest. It cannot be changed. It cannot be improved. For those who go on tampering, it's ruined. For those who try to grasp, it's gone. Now, I just want to say this at the outset because I think it's important, right? Because, of course, we can look at the world and it's like, wait a minute, PG, you mean to tell me there's nothing out here that needs to be changed? Nothing out here that needs to be improved with all of the foolishness and mess that's going on out in the world? Absolutely. There are things that we want to change, right? There's things that we want to experience. But I'm going to break down how and why we have to look at this differently, right? And so what he's essentially writing about here is when we forget that we are a cosmos and not a chaos. I love that. The Master Key System, Charles F. Hannell is where I read that for the first time, that you are a cosmos, not a chaos. And what that's talking about, the cosmos is talking about this unity that we possess, this universal wholeness that we possess. And of course, when we look at cosmos, we immediately start to think of space, we start to think of the galaxies, and we understand that from our personal vantage point here on Earth, everything seems separate. Right? You're in one place, I'm in one place. This camera is in front of me, is in one place, and I'm sitting in one place. These lights are in one place, and I'm in another place, right? And then we have separate buildings, and we have separate bodies, and we have separate vehicles, and we have separate items of clothing. But of course, the more we start to zoom out, everything starts to become unified. It starts to appear to be one. And, you know, we can get in a plane and we have a certain view, a bird's eye view. We start to see unity, and where on the ground it appears to be separation. And then, of course, if we zoom out even more and we move out into space, right, then we get into that space where we begin to see that the Earth itself is one unified whole. It's that blue marble, right, that's sitting there on the mote of a sunbeam. And we recognize, and this is part of what inspired that powerful song, From a Distance, right? That from a distance, we start to see unity. From a distance, we don't see factions. We don't see race and cultures and ethnicities and my thing and your thing. We don't see any of that. And we understand that that's what we're talking about when we talk about the cosmos. But just as we broke down the definition of holy, W-H-O-L-L-Y, and whole and wholeness last week, I want to touch in on cosmos for a second. Because when we look at the definition of cosmos, it gives us something powerful to understand about ourselves. If the truth of us is that we are a cosmos and not a chaos, right? Not this separation, which is what chaos can be. In Webster's, we read cosmos, universe. All right, so first of all, that root, uni, one, right? Wholeness, oneness, the same things. And then it goes on, it says, an orderly, harmonious, systematic universe, as opposed to chaos. Goes on, it says order, harmony, right? And I believe order and harmony are words that came up last week in the definition of wholeness. And finally, a complex, orderly, self-inclusive system. I love that because that's really taking us into understanding a powerful picture, a powerful description, although language is limited and we can never fully describe the all that is. God itself, a complex yet orderly, self-inclusive system. And so if we begin to understand this truth that we are in truth orderly, then we can begin to affirm, I am one with order. I am one with harmony, right? And then as we are experiencing something in our lives and we may need to tap into this reality and come back to wholeness and embrace wholeness, then we may affirm things like, my mind is an orderly, self-inclusive system. My body is an orderly, self-inclusive system. And so then instead of changing the world as we think of it and have been led to think about it in the ways that it's happened so far, what we do is we bring the world back to itself. See, this is why Lao Tzu is saying those who look down, first of all, even see that posture, right? Because I have to imagine, and I'm using my spiritual imagination here, but understanding how long ago Lao Tzu wrote these words. Now, maybe he had an out-of-body experience. Maybe he visited the cosmos. Maybe he visited the heavens. I don't know. But when I hear this idea of those who look down upon this world, at that time in time, humans did not yet have a bird's eye view. Humans did not have the view that we have right now. And so this idea of those who look down upon this world will surely take hold and try to change things. So what he's saying is, first of all, those who actually think there's something inherently wrong with life. So this is what that looking down upon is. And the thing is, those of us that are actually trying to bring about positive change in the world, what we actually know is that there's something good about so many people, right? I don't look down upon the world and then advocate for trans rights. I recognize that trans people are beautiful people, are whole people, are God in form. And so I'm seeking to bring that reality into being. So first of all, the posture of looking down upon the world is the wrong lens. And so when we are looking at the world as though there's something wrong, forgetting wholeness, we'll try to change things. But what does he say? This plan is a plan I've always seen fail. And so what we are seeking to do when we say that we are changing the world, we're bringing the world back to itself. And this is what we do on the individual level, right? I don't need to change me. I need to remember, oh, Lord, have mercy. I need to remember me. Somebody needed to hear that. I don't need to change me. I need to remember me. And remembering me is loving me. And remembering me is reminding me that I am perfect, whole, and complete in truth. And so then when we bring the world to itself, when we bring ourselves to ourselves, our true selves, our universal selves, our whole selves, our God selves, our divine selves, then we build the world from that understanding. See, what we've been trying to improve and change are the original mistakes. What we have been trying to improve and change are the original lies, the original falsehoods. And so you keep shining shit and making it gold. I can't say it no other way. Right, and so this is what's happening. I was reminded. Yesterday I finished the 1619 project on Hulu, which is a powerful visual representation of the powerful text and compilation of essays led brilliantly by Nicole Hannah-Jones. And the essays are powerful, and then to see it sort of light up on the screen and come into being has been powerful. And it reminds me of some of the issues and the things that are taking place when we look at essentially the wholeness that Black people are seeking in this country. And so all of these micro changes are not bringing this country to the truth of who and what it is in truth, right? It's still keeping the separation, but then trying to fix a little something over here. Keeping the separation, keeping the inherent racism in these structures, right? But trying to do a little something over here. Give a little of affirmative action here, and give a little grant here, and give a little scholarship over here, and right? But we still haven't dealt with the truth of we need to bring America back to the truth of itself. And so the last episode in that series is the episode on justice and talking about reparations. And of course, it seems very, very practical, logical, not only morally right, as Nicole Hannah-Jones says, but also just logically right when you think about it, when you look at it. There is a debt. There is a debt that's owed, right? And it has not been paid. Right? And until and unless America seeks to make itself whole, right, which is really come back to the remembrance of its wholeness, we're going to continue to have the problems, right? And so then that's where what Lao Tzu says so interestingly, where he talks about tampering and grasping, right? He says that for those who go on tampering, it's ruined. And for those who try to grasp, it's gone. Because it cannot be changed, it cannot be improved, it can only be remembered. You can only come back to the reality of what it is and then be whole. And so that tampering and grasping, here's the thing where we talk about wholeness over wellness and the problems of the wellness industry as it's been manifest right now, and all of the new ageisms and all of this stuff that's happened. You can't bottle it up. You can't sell it, right? You can't improve upon that which is already complete. And when you try to do these things, it's ruined. The thing that comes to mind as I was preparing for this message is I think about yoga and how the Western world has tampered and grasped at this thing and ruined it. Well, what do I mean? It's beautiful when you think about it, this example, right? Because if you understand, and shout out, I know we have so many certified yoga teachers, of course, Pastor Yolanda being one, but we have so many certified yoga teachers within our community. And so you know this. If you go to the Yoga Sutras, if you look at the wisdom of Patanjali, right, we understand that there are 8 limbs of yoga. 8 limbs of yoga. One of those limbs being asanas, or the postures or poses, the thing that we in the Western world think yoga is and only is. And because of that, this is a perfect example of separation. This is a perfect example of ignoring wholeness. Because of that, we've now created this toxic expression of yoga that has even gone as far, and I'm sorry if I offend somebody, but has gone as far as this goat yoga mess, which has nothing to do with what was written in the Yoga Sutras. Has nothing to do with the 8 limbs of yoga, and that's just truth. And you can go out there and do your little goat yoga if you want to, but understand that what you're doing is operating in opposition to this reality of wholeness. There are 8 limbs. And so ignoring the other 7 is operating in separation. But this is what the Western world does, right? This is not about any specific person. What's happened is this is just another manifestation of that. It's a manifestation of when you try to change something, when you try to improve that which is wholeness, right? Those who go on tampering, what do? They ruin it. And those who try to grasp it, those who try to bottle it up, those who try to just simply make money off it, those who try to figure out the formula behind it and write a book about it so that they can tell more people about it instead of experiencing it. So this is what Pastor Yolanda reminds us of in the meditation experience. Don't matter how many books we have, doesn't matter how many principles we can cite, doesn't matter how many universal laws we can name. Doesn't matter how many times we've read A Course in Miracles front to back. Doesn't matter how many times we've done the lessons in A Course in Miracles. Doesn't matter if we can quote Abraham Hicks or not, or Marianne Williamson, or Michael Beckwith, or Pastor Greg, or Pastor Yolanda. It's an experience. We embrace wholeness so that we can be whole. And so this is what Lao Tzu is talking about. And this is why he says from this place of experience, this is a plan I've seen always fail. Right? And he was saying this centuries ago. But I can say in 2023, in this century, this is a plan I've seen always fail. It creates chaos. It creates foolishness. It creates toxicity. It creates all kinds of unintended consequences. But then in the second half of this verse, he brings it to ourselves, right? The first half of the verse was talking more in the universal sense, right? Because he says that the world is Tao's own vessel, and it is wholeness manifest. So he's talking on this cosmic level, on the larger level, right? But then he brings us to ourselves, and what does he write? Understanding this cosmic understanding as above, so below. Allow your life to unfold naturally. Know that it too is a vessel of wholeness, right? Because what did he say earlier? The world is Tao's own vessel, Tao is another word for God or the universe or source or the all that is, whatever name feels good for you, that highest reality, that thing behind all things. That's what the Tao is, right? Use whatever word feels good for you. It is wholeness manifest. But then he says, know that your life too is a vessel of wholeness, that your life too is wholeness manifest. Just as you breathe in and breathe out. Sometimes you're ahead and other times behind. Sometimes you're strong and other times weak. Sometimes you're with people and other times alone. This is why I love to look at the seasons to remind us of what Lao Tzu is saying here. Sometimes you're in winter. Sometimes you're in spring. Sometimes you're in fall, sometimes you're in summer, but we do not worry and we do not fear, for we know and affirm, as Albert Camus affirms, in the midst of winter, I found there was within me an invincible summer. This is an affirmation of wholeness. This is someone who sees the whole picture. The whole picture. Not the whole picture, but the picture that wholeness wants us to see. Seeing the whole picture is not about what you see with your physical eyes or even experience with your physical senses. Seeing the whole picture is living from what you know. When we're in winter, we don't see spring, but we know spring is coming. Yes, yes. When we're in fall, we don't see fall, but when we're in fall, we may not see fall, but we know that winter is coming. We may not see winter, but we know that winter is coming. And even as we are now, I said this earlier, when we are in spring, but the evidence of spring has not yet fully manifested, we see the whole picture because of what we know. We know that nothing can stop spring from coming. We know that nothing can stop us from experience. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I hope somebody, whoever needs to hear this, is hearing this and feeling it the way it is flowing through my body right now. Spring is coming. The evidence of spring is here, but the evidence of spring is inevitable. It's coming. The visible signs, the physical signs, right? Soon I'm going to need to start taking my allergy medicine again, because I'm going to be sneezing and blowing, and that pollen's going to be doing what pollen does to me and my body, right? And that's going to be evidence for me. I'm not sneezing right now. I'm not seeing a bunch of pollen right now. I don't need to take my allergy meds right now, but I will, and I know I will. And so seeing the whole picture on a spiritual level is exactly the same thing. We see the whole picture because of what we know. And that which we know it's inevitable. We know that these phrases, I was thinking about it this morning as I was getting ready, taking a shower. This is where these ideas about trouble don't last always come from. This is why we affirm weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Right? This is why Maya Angelou would always say that every storm cloud runs out of rain. Because we got to know that each individual experience of life has an ending. And this is how it works. And when you understand wholeness, then you're not alarmed by any of these seasons. And hear me, I'm talking about seasons, just whatever the metaphor for winter, spring, or fall, or summer may be in your life, because there's actually nothing wrong with any of the seasons. We know that that's a part of wholeness. And again, that's what Lao Tzu is seeking to get us to understand. We breathe in, we breathe out. That's the experience of wholeness. Sometimes we're strong, sometimes we're weak. Some people could say that winter is a form of weakness, right? Or some could say that even summer could be a form of weakness because the sun is bearing down, right? Now, we don't call them those things, but we recognize that they're different experiences where we can be differently vulnerable in one season or another. As I shared it, in the spring, I have a different experience in the spring than I do in the other seasons. But there's a remedy, right? And I'm not worried about spring coming. And thankfully, I get to enjoy spring. And I can go and love on the cherry blossoms with everybody else, right? Because I have my medicine. And then we have this line, which, of course, is the line that we've zeroed in on and is famous to us. And, the song that I've written, Toward Our Wholeness, is a song we sing. And to the sage, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. Now, when we hear that word sage, and I think it's very interesting that Lao Tzu used that word and that Jonathan Starr translated it into English as sage, because it immediately sort of, unfortunately, in our minds can create a separation, right? Because it's like to say, oh, well, to the spiritual teacher, all of life is a movement toward all. To the profound, wise philosopher, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. To, Mr. Miyagi, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. But we're Daniel-san, and we still learning. We don't know. But if we actually look at that word, I think there's something that we can glean from it to understand who and what he's talking about. Now, often as I'm teaching, I always say, calling us all in, I say, as metaphysicians, right? We're all metaphysicians. And one of the things, the term that I've been using a lot over the last year or so and talking a lot about spiritual maturity, right? What does it look like as we have been steeped in these teachings? What does it look like? And this is kind of a context from, CSC being 10 years old, right? That we have this powerful foundation, right? We have this powerful experience of the teachings that we collectively have been practicing and embodying. And so the sage is one aspect of the definition is a mature or venerable person of sound judgment, right? And so, it's like being an adult, if you will, right? To the adults in the room, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. Or to those that have experienced enough life, right? You've been on this planet long enough. You know that after winter comes spring, and after spring comes summer, after summer comes fall, and again winter, and again spring. And it's this beautiful cycle. And each season has its own gifts. Each season has within it its own unique experience that you can only experience within that season. And within each season, and this is where we get into the profound depths of the as above, so below. If I want to experience another season, I can. When it's winter in the northern hemisphere, I can go to the southern hemisphere and experience summer. And when it's winter in the southern hemisphere, I can go to the northern hemisphere and experience summer. So we know this is the physical representation of the truth that we can change our experience, right? That's what this is. It's showing us. And so when we hear to the sage, all of life is a movement toward wholeness, Lao Tzu is just simply saying to the knower. Because again, we see the whole picture because of what we know. We know what's inevitable. We know that after the exhale, the inhale is always available, and we're not freaked out about our next breath. We know that sometimes in life we may be alone or simply by ourselves, but we can be with folks, and we can be in community, and we can be in gatherings as well, right? Sometimes you're ahead, other times you're behind. That's the nature of life, whatever that looks like. Closer to your deadline, and you know you're going to make it, and sometimes you're like, oh Lord, I don't know if I'm going to get all of this done in time, right? We've had both experiences. To the spiritually mature, all of life is a movement toward wholeness. And then he asks a question, the very last line, which is interesting after that, because it almost feels like that would end the verse, right? Like I've said all this profound stuff. All of life is a movement toward wholeness. But then he asks a question at the very end. So what need have we for the excessive, the extravagant, or the extreme? And this really reminds me of Buddhist philosophy and the middle way. It also reminds me of Hindu teaching that talks about living from the center and not turning too far to the left and too far to the right. And Joseph Campbell brilliantly talks about how you can find that teaching inscribed in temples, where you'll go to a temple and there's a face in the middle, and then on the left and the right, are two faces attached to it, and it's a visible representation of living in the middle. The faces to the left and the right aren't beautiful faces, right? To say the least. They're kind of scary looking, right? Because those represent the extremes, right? So what have we? The need for the excessive, the extravagant, or the extreme. And I love that the three words are used there, because something that I zeroed in on when I saw extravagant, I'm like, well, I like extravagance, Lao Tzu. I can't have extravagance in my life, right? I thought about Pose and all of the great extravaganzas and the great balls that took place, right? I'm like, I like extravagant things, right? That reminds me of luxury. What you saying, Lao Tzu? I can't like extravagant things, but the context is important. The context and the use of the word between excessive and extreme, right? Because the extravagant, when used in this context, that is extravagant, can be in excess. And so he's using the word in that context, right? What need have we for the excessive or the extreme? And see, when we forget the truth that we're whole, that's when we get into excess and extreme. Because we're trying to get to an experience of something that we can never get to, because we're out here in that plan that Lao Tzu has always seen fail, right? This is more the tampering and more the grasping as we live in the excess and the extreme. Because when we understand that we're whole, perfect, whole, and complete, and abundance is, right? I don't excessively breathe. I don't need to breathe through extremes. This is why I will say this, till I make my own transition. This is why these ideas about extreme self-care and radical self-care are inherently problematic and tell us something about the predicament that we're in as humans until we make the change, right? Because practicing extreme self-care is still forgetting the reality of wholeness. Again, that's what gave birth to the wellness industry. Right? And you got people out here teaching you to practice extreme self-care and buy their products to support you in practicing extreme self-care. That's because we forgot that the truth is wholeness, that the foundation of our life is wholeness. And so when we understand that, when we understand it from the universal cosmic level, and then we begin to understand that as above, so below, as below, so above, we begin to understand that from our own reality, and we allow our lives to unfold naturally. Just as spring has unfolded naturally, just as the flowers will bloom and unfold naturally, just as the cherry blossoms will unfold naturally. Why? Because we all, too, are vessels of wholeness. We no longer have a need for the excessive. We no longer have need for the extremes. We no longer have need for the extravagant to the extent that it's excessive or extreme. Embracing wholeness is a call to live naturally and with understanding. Embracing wholeness is a call to remember who you are and surrender daily to that truth. Embracing wholeness is a call to accept what the all that is will never relinquish about you, because it cannot. It knows that it's whole, and you are a vessel of its wholeness. It can only see you as that. But of course, we can see ourselves as something else and fight and block the truth of who and what we are. Embracing wholeness is a call to see the whole picture using your wholeness-colored glasses. All life is an experience of wholeness. All life is an encounter with wholeness. See the whole picture and be whole. And with that, I invite you to take a breath in right here, right now. And we breathe out. We breathe in. And we breathe out. Let us move on up a little higher in consciousness as we remember and know that there is only one mind, only one power, only one presence, only one divine intelligence, only one universal wholeness that is working in all, through all, and as all, that is working in us, through us, and as us, that is working in you, through you and as you, that is working in me, through me and as me. It is, and it is right here, right now. Universal wholeness is right here, right now. It can neither come nor go. It can neither come nor go. It cannot be changed. It cannot be improved. It is complete. It is intact. It is unified. It is wholeness. And as I recognize that God, universal wholeness, is right here and right now, I remember that each and every one of us are right here, right now. For we live, move, and have our being in the womb of wholeness, in the mind of wholeness. We live, move, and have our expression in it, and it expresses in, through, and as us. We are one with it and one of it. We are God's good idea. We are God's whole idea, and that idea is never relinquished. That idea cannot be let go of. That idea holds us to that reality. And so it is out of this awareness that universal wholeness is and is right here, right now, out of this awareness that we are one with it and one of it, that I speak this word in faith. Here and now in consciousness, we embrace wholeness. Here and now in consciousness, we remember ourselves. Here and now in consciousness, we love ourselves back into an experience and reality of wholeness. We are a cosmos, not a chaos. Our minds are in order. Our minds are in harmony. Our bodies are in perfect self-inclusive order. Our minds are in perfect self-inclusive order and harmony. And so right here and right now, we bow to our divine selves. We bow to the harmony that is. We bow to the unity that is. And as we sang in the song, unify my mind, my soul, as above, so below. For we are one with wholeness. We now allow the cells of our body to remember themselves. Cells, you are whole, you are whole, you are whole. We speak to every aspect of our body, every limb, every joint, every muscle, every organ. We speak to you now and remind you that you are whole, you are whole, you are whole. We speak to all of the other physical manifestations of our lives, our relationships, our bank accounts, our finances, our businesses, our careers. You are whole, 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 you are whole. You are part of and an expression of a perfect, complete, orderly, harmonious, self-inclusive system. You are God and God is you. God is whole and you are whole. We speak this word of faith over our lives now. We speak this word of truth over our manifested lives right now. We see the whole picture and we know that wholeness is right about us. Wholeness is right about you. Wholeness is right about you. Wholeness is right about him. Wholeness is right about her. Wholeness is right about them. Wholeness is right about all of us. We see the whole picture, and right now we are choosing to be whole. I now release this prayer in faith and confidence, for I know that this word that has been spoken is the word of truth and is already being responded to at every level of life, simultaneously bringing forth good and good and good. So now we relax, we watch, we wait, we expect, we know the manifestation and demonstration of this word, this manifestation and demonstration of our hearing of this truth and these teachings are already happening. We let it be, we let it be. And from this place of beingness, we lift up our voices and we say, Amen, Ashe. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. We see the whole picture. Thank you, God. Thank you, God.
Ooh, we now see the whole picture. We cannot be duped by someone telling us that we are less than we really are. We know our wholeness. We accept it. We allow our wholeness. No more will we be swayed by something outside of us telling us we're less than. We don't have. We are not. We know who and what we are. We know what we came from and what we will return to. We are so grateful for this series. I see a lot of the comments. This was a lot of clarity around this idea of wholeness, and it was important. One of the things that we've always said is in our teachings, we would make those things practical. We would bring your awareness to things that needed to be adjusted, things that you needed clarity around so that you could live differently. This is so important that I hope you'll come back to this series.
Yes, yes.
And I hope you'll remember it when some commercial or somebody tells you you need this thing to make you better, to make you prettier, younger, smarter, more complete. Nothing and no one can do that.
Hey.
You are already whole. Let's live like it.
Yes.
Thank you, PG.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, wow. Well, that was exciting. I'm grateful for this series. We are going to be moving forward in a powerful way next month. I'm equally excited about next month. I won't give it away, but of course, Easter is happening next month, so we'll be dealing with some things related to the Christ and the Christ stories. It should be good. So at this time, it is time for giving. You see the information on your screen. You've seen it throughout the stream. It's very easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There's a $10 minimum for text to give. And we mostly encourage you to do what you see on the screen, which says, give what feels good. What we know to be true is that it's what's behind our physical actions that actually determine the outcome, right? So often, and this is just, manifestation 101 or law of attraction 101, right? Folks are doing things that are seemingly positive or seemingly affirmative or even seemingly intentional, right? But the act of doing does not dictate what the consciousness behind it is, right? And so this is why it's important that there must be a good feeling tone behind your giving. There is a blessing in giving, right? There absolutely, your life multiplies in infinite numbers of ways. That's all true. That's all real, right? But the blessing in giving is about what's behind your giving. What is the feeling tone? What is the consciousness behind it? Which is why we remind you each and every week to give what feels good. Find that joy number. Find that number that you almost don't even have to think about it. I give in love because I love to give. I'm happy to give this amount. It's easy. It's effortless. And then that's the way your demonstrations and manifestations show up, right? Because that's the feeling tone. That's the vibration that was behind your giving. And so it is out of that giving what feels good, that we can affirm absolutely this truth that all the money that I use returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. To that we say amen. Ashe. And so it is. And so it must be.
I was just thinking about every Sunday for the last 10 years. We have been reminding you of your goodness. We've been reminding you of how to give and how to give what feels good. This was something that we decided before there was a door open, that we would be teaching you and helping you remember and undo all of the false ideas that have been implanted in all of us around giving. Mm-hmm. And so that you can not only hear the truth, that you could experience the truth. Yep. So always, whether it's in your church or it's to another person, do and give what feels good.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely.
Always.
Yes. Absolutely. And so we have come to the end of today's weekend service. We trust that each and every one of you will have an awesome Sunday, doing what brings you joy, that you will also have an even more empowered week as a result of gathering together. We will be together again on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call. We encourage you again to join us and be there live. But of course, if you cannot be there live, then the prayer is recorded and you can access the most recent prayer at any time, 24/7. And then, of course, we will be back here again next Sunday for the weekend service, first Sunday in April, which will be Palm Sunday. And of course, we have some wonderful things to share as we move forward in our anniversary year, our 10th year, and also as we move forward in continuing to celebrate the truth as one family and do all of the things that CSC was created to do and be. So have an amazing day. We love y'all. Bye for now.
Bye for now.